Hey YouTube, Electric Adventures here with a response to Novabugs' latest Friday Foursome video, which was gaming regrets. So 4 regrets about gaming or retro gaming. Yeah, if you'd like to make a response, I'll check out his original video, which I'll link down below. So my number 4, these are not in any particular order, but my first one, I used to run it was a science fiction and fantasy store. It used to have, books, games, mini games workshop section, and we had a little video game area where I mainly had 3 consoles: a SNES, a Mega Drive, and a Jaguar, Atari Jaguar. The SNES I still have to this very day. The console survived when I got robbed at one stage many years ago. The Mega Drive my brother-in-law bought, and I've done videos about how he also got my games, and I got a couple of them back recently. And the Atari Jaguar. Now the Atari Jaguar were just about the only place that actually had them. I think we got them in because I was always I was mates with the Atari distributor down here. I got very close to getting a Falcon as well, an Atari Falcon. But I got the Atari Jaguar in. Couldn't really afford it at the time, but put it in, and we used to have a little timer there next to the machines, and people could pay, I can't remember how many cents per minute block and everything like that, and they just pay to play, and after school we'd actually earn a fair bit of coin. But I couldn't really afford it, and one of the customers used to come in and enjoy it. Talked me out of it and offered me an appropriate amount of money that I was happy with at the time, but just one of those systems that I regretted not being able to keep. Now the only games I played for it were the I'm having a mind blank now, the mech game that came with it, Aliens vs Predator, which I really liked, and I think that was about it. We only had those 2 games. I've played other games since, like the Tempest game and Rayman. I played them at PAX Oz the year before last, yeah, I regret letting that system go because I've never seen one since, and there really were not a lot sold down here. Even in Australia you don't see them listed on Australian eBay very often, but you never know, one day. It's not the obviously it's not the most fantastic system in the world, but it's an interesting system. I actually have one game for it. It's sitting up there on the shelf behind me for those who are observant, and I've never played that particular game on it either, so maybe one day. Now my next one would be the various computers, because obviously my very first computer was a TI-99-4, not a 4A, a 4. It had a chiclet keyboard. It could only display uppercase characters, whereas the letter 4A could display upper and lowercase characters. It only had the original BASIC built into it. The guy that I bought that off second-hand, I didn't buy it new, was supposed to give me the Advanced BASIC cartridge as part of the thing, but because he was upgrading to the 4A, but for some reason he didn't get another Advanced BASIC with the 4A, and he never gave me the Advanced BASIC, so, and he disappeared on me. So, but anyway, that's the very first computer I had at home, and the one that I learnt a fair bit of programming on. Before I realised that it wasn't really powerful enough for what I wanted to do with a computer, and then I moved on to the Spectre Video 318. So I sold that machine to get the money together, because as it is, to get that machine I sold all of my a lot of my childhood toys. So I had a huge Lego collection, I had another building toy called Fisher Technics, and I had all this Meccano. All that stuff is probably worth a fortune nowadays. And my train set, and then borrowed a whole lot of money off my father. We basically went halves to get that original TI-99. I managed to get a discount on my next computer, the 318, and I sold the TI-99, but I had to do that, so I regret not being able to keep that computer. I have many years later, and this is probably about 12-13 years ago, I managed to pick up a TI-99 4A, in box, and with a whole lot of user magazines and pretty much the same games that I had back in the day plus more. So I have more than I had, but I don't actually have a 4, and I've never actually seen one for sale, so they obviously can't be that common, those original models. And right, so now for our number 3. I suppose it's going to be a little bit of a different regret, this one. It's that I haven't finished more games. I mean, I'm a computer programmer, so my focus primarily when I'm using these systems and using computers is that you know, I like programming, but there's also, I do actually like playing games, but I have an uncanny habit of not finishing a lot of them. I like RPGs, and I you know, I would like to play more of them. And then along come kids, and then you don't have much time, and that goes on for many years, especially when you have 4 kids like I have. But I can see light at the end of the tunnel. My girls are getting older, and there will come a time when I'll have more time in my hands. Hopefully everything will still be working and I'll be able to play some of those RPGs. And my last gaming regret, probably a bit different than other people's regrets, is that, well, I wrote software for the original Spectre Video and MSX machines. Here's some of the titles that I self-published. That's Media Swarm with Birds of Orion on side B. My biggest selling title, Pixidis. These are all MSX versions, the original Spectre Video versions. Munchmania, no prizes for guessing that. I also had mounds of these program packs, which were primarily basic, some with a little bit of machine code games, and there were heaps of those. There were about 30 of those, and plus some other titles. As you can see, very basic covers and everything like that. It's only those later machine code ones that a friend of mine who drew comics drew me covers for those, and I used to self-manufacture those. And I also used to publish a magazine here in Australia, and the primary reason that I published that magazine, besides the fact that I liked writing articles and doing the desktop publishing part, was that it provided a mechanism to sell my software. Now obviously some of those magazines made it over to Japan, because one day I got a letter from ASCII Corporation, and they're the people who were part of the MSX standard, and I was, you know, I was only fairly young. I don't know the exact age, and I haven't found the letter. I think I still have the box that it's in, but I haven't found it yet. It was a typewritten letter from Japan, in Jinglish, so it was a little hard to understand what the intent of the letter was. But the letter was they wanted to order. It said they wanted to order 1,000 samples of my games. Now I was self-publishing then, and there was no way I could afford to buy 1,000 cartridges. So did they really mean samples, or did they mean that this was a sample order? There was no detail about price, whether they're offering to pay money or anything. There wasn't a lot of detail, but in their defence, I didn't do anything about it because it freaked me out at the time. I was busy doing other things. I was a teenager, probably working, enjoying time with my friends, and that was all too hard at the time. So that really is a big regret that I did nothing about that letter and didn't follow it up, because I didn't know what to do at the time. So the older me says, stupid younger me. And it really is a big regret, but I've moved on past that, and I've published one of my titles for the ColecoVision, and I'm going to be publishing more homebrew in the future. So that's my way of doing that, and I've had a very successful career in the IT industry, so I can't complain. But one big regret is I would have liked to have worked more in the gaming industry, because I really do like making and writing games. But maybe I can do that now. So we'll see what happens in the next couple of years. Alright, so that was really good fun answering those questions from Novabugs. So as I said earlier, I'll put a link down below for his original video, and you might like to do a response as well. Alright, I'm Electric Adventures. Thanks to all my subscribers, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.